Story time about how a guy begged to take me out on a date and I end up paying for the whole thing. So this happened about 2-3 years ago. And this is like when I still had like Facebook at the time. There was this one guy who would like ask to like take me out all the time, and I would always dub him because like no tea, no shade, but I like my men chocolate. Dark chocolate. I could do the brown skin too. But I just feel like two yellow tone people just no. I'm already yellow enough for the both of us. Point of the matter is, he was asking me for like bare long. I think for like 2 years he's been trying to get a date with me. So I was like, why not? Let me go see what this guy's about. Something told me, you know, them little posts that be like, oh, give the guys that be in your DMs a chance because that could be your husband. I don't even know why I did that because he was not my type. He wasn't ugly until he smiled. Like, he smiled and his teeth was like 90% gums, 10% teeth. That just pissed me off. So, fast forward, he comes, he picks me up. It's pretty early in the day because there was 2 things that I wanted to do that day. I wanted to go to Coney Island. I know y'all be like, if y'all from New York, they're going to be like, why would you want to go to Coney Island for the first date? Da-da-da. 1, I like amusement parks. And 2, Coney Island after hours, after a certain time, you have to be 21 plus to be there. And then going on rides, it's a time. So I wanted to go there, and I also wanted to go to dinner. So this man picks me up. He's driving a 2020 BMW, all white, red interior. I'm talking about he looked like he just got the car off the lot. And I remember on Facebook, like, he was flexing that he got himself a new car, which is okay, that's cute. I'm not someone that like money impresses me, but let's just continue the story. So he picks me up, I get in a car. I live in Manhattan, he lives in Brooklyn. So that drive to Manhattan was already something. So he had to drive all the way back to Brooklyn because Coney Island is in Brooklyn, which was like an hour and 30-minute drive. We get to Coney Island now, and in my head, we're gonna, pay for parking because it's Coney Island. Like, you go to amusement park, there's no way you find parking. Everybody tries to take the free parking, and then by Coney Island there's like people that live around there, so there's no way you're gonna find parking. Just pay for the parking, call it a day. This man starts circling the neighborhood because he wants to look for parking. He was like, nah, I'm not gonna pay for parking. I'm not paying $20 just to park my hair for a couple hours. Bro, it's $20. So that was my first red flag. Like, you don't want to pay $20 to ease your mind, but you would rather drive around here for 30 minutes straight looking for parking. So then as we're driving around, like, I'm getting irritated because I'm like, bro, like, I'm not trying to sit around here looking for parking the whole time. Like, it's getting dark. It's going to start getting cold soon. So then he started asking me, like, how much do you usually pay for, like, the rides and stuff like that? Like, what's the ride prices? So I told him, like, if you spend, like, $100 per person, you can probably go on every single ride that's there. Granted, we're not going to go on every single ride, but if you spent $100 on the both of us, then we could get like 3, 4, even 5 rides in and still be able to play some games. Which to me, like, $100 is not nothing. Like, don't ask to take me out on a date if you don't even got $100. So mind you, by this time, we're 45 minutes circling around to look for parking. Then we see another sign saying, like, you can park here for 4 hours for $10. Homeboy said, nah, I'm not paying that. $10? Like, at this point, I'll pay it. He like, nah, you don't have to pay either. We gonna find something. We circled around for an hour, and at that point, I'm like, you know what? Let's just go get dinner. Like, I'm not even feeling no more. He like, oh, are you sure? Like, what place did you pick? Da-da-da. So I just picked a random spot online. When I tell you, this is the first time some shit like this happened to me that I know exactly what we ordered. We get to the spot, we sit down. It's a cute little restaurant spot. We're talking, like, I'm trying to get to know him more. This is what we ordered. We ordered 3 drinks. I had 1, he had 2. 3 appetizers. I had 1, he had 2, and 1 entree. I had the entree. So that means I had an entree, a drink, and an appetizer. He had 2 appetizers and 2 drinks. Let's keep it in mind. The appetizers are cheaper than the entrees. The bill in total came up to $100. $105.86. I remember it to a T. And that's including the gratuity. You know how good that is for you to get all that food for only $100, including gratuity? Especially in Brooklyn or like just in New York in general. So now the bill comes. This man pulls out the calculator on his phone to calculate what I got and what he got so we can split the bill. When I tell you I was so embarrassed, bro, like, I've never had to pay for my own dinner when I go out on dates or pay for anything. And honestly, if we're going out drinking or whatever, I'd be quick to pull out my card too, like, oh, next round is on me. But if you're begging to take me out, this is my first impression of you. You're going to make me pay for the date. You're going to make me pay for my portion of the food, which I honestly didn't even OD. I got what a regular person would get if they were at dinner. There was 2 guys that was sitting right across from us. And when I tell you, like, they were staring at me. And I'm just like, bro, what? Because we were in like an outside dining type of area. So now the waiter is there standing above us, and he still has the calculator on his phone. And I keep my card sometimes in my phone case. So I just pull out my debit card. I'm like, here, like, just put everything on my card. So he's like, oh, like, you're going to do that for me? Like, I never had somebody do that for me. Like, that's so sweet. Shut up. At this point, I'm already livid. I'm already texting the group chat. So now we're walking back to the car. He doesn't even open the car door for me. I gotta open it for myself. Then he's like, oh, can I ask you something? And I'm like, like, what's up? He's like, when you go on dates and stuff like that, like, do you ever put in for gas money? Are you f***ing stupid? You just asked me to put in for gas money after I just paid for dinner? Like, I'm like, no. I never in my life had to put in fucking gas money. Not even when my friends were taking me somewhere. Like, I never, like, I offered, but why are you asking me for gas money? He was like, oh, because Manhattan is fake deep and I gotta drive an hour there and drive an hour back, da-da-da. But what? All right. So then we drive all the way to my house. It's kind of silent now because now I'm just hot. I'm literally just texting my phone. Like, you can literally hear this. Because, like, my nails are just typing on the phone. And he's like, oh, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. But in my head, I already know, like, I'm never going to talk to this boy again. So now we get to my house, and this boy starts circling the block. I'm like, what you trying to do? Get a little bit more time with me? I'm like, what you doing? He was like, oh, I thought, I could park and I could come upstairs and we could talk a little. No. You want to come into my house? The house that I pay rent in and talk to me? No, after I paid for the date? And after you ask me for gas money? One thing men have is they just have the nerve. But, like, yeah, I never spoke to him again. Ever. At all.
Story time on why you should be really careful about who you're dating. So this is a true story, friend of a friend kind of thing. There was a young girl. She lived in New York City, and she was on a dating app and matched with this young guy. He seemed like a really great person. He decides to ask her out one night, and they end up going to, she agrees, they end up going to this really nice restaurant. He pays, he's a gentleman, he's nice to wait staff. They wrap up the night, and they both go to their respective homes. And after she gets settled at her apartment, she gets a text from him saying that he lost his key, and he's trying to get a hold of his roommate. His roommate isn't home, but his roommate is also not answering. So he's kind of like stuck outside of his apartment. Just sort of like telling her that, and she just kind of figures, all right, I'll invite you over. So, maybe give him a little bit of time to figure out what's going on, either find his key or get in contact with his roommate. So he comes over to her apartment and they have, a really nice chat. They sit on the couch. Finally, she decides that she's going to go to bed. She doesn't know why, but she goes into her own bedroom, which has a door, and she ends up locking it. And it's just one of those things that she felt like she needed to do, which I totally get. Like, new people in your space. Sometimes it's nice to just be extra cautious. So she goes to her bedroom, she locks the door, and he's sleeping on the couch. Around 3 a.m, she wakes up to a knocking on her door. It's her date, and he asks her if she has a cell phone charger because his cell phone is dead and he needs to charge it. This is the part where it gets like really crazy. So she tells him that she has one and it's on the kitchen counter, and she just tells him this through the door. She doesn't get up, she doesn't unlock the door, she doesn't go and find it for him. And I'm thinking to myself, if this was me, I would totally get up and grab it for the person and give it to them and then be like, all right, anything else? Good night. He says thank you. He goes, he grabs the charger, whatever. She doesn't know. She just goes right back to sleep. A few minutes later, he knocks on the door again. He said it's not working, and does she have one in her room? At this point, she's thinking that there's something up. She decides to call the police, which, once again, good for you, girl, for having the instinct to connect with the police. The police show up to the apartment. They knock on the door. She hears some commotion going on, and then she gets a knock on her bedroom door, because mind you, she hasn't come out this entire time. And it's a police officer, and he said, we've cleared the apartment. We have him in custody. We really need you to come out of your room so you can take a look at your apartment. She opens the door and walks out, and she sees that her entire living room is plasticked. And there is a set of power tools sitting on the floor.